Good morning, CrossFit Linchpin. Today's video is going to be on the subject of public speaking. We did a public speaking video, it was a while ago, but it was before we started saving them, putting them on YouTube, and then making them into podcasts. So it's time, I think, for a video on public speaking that now we can turn into the podcast and will actually live for a while and will be shareable. So that's the point. And also, the last time we did a public speaking video, I actually got some really cool feedback from individuals who said, there are just some folks that have a fear of speaking in public, even in a work setting or at the grocery store, one lady told me. And some of these things just helped her out, so that's cool. So all of us are public speakers, whether you do it to earn a paycheck or you do it to just communicate to whoever it happens to be. And it's one of those areas that there are ways to get better at it. And so based upon my current and previous occupation, I've done a lot of public speaking for a living, in front of live audiences at the Level 1 seminars, we've done live TV work on ESPN, I can't remember the other networks that we've been on, and then the update shows all the time, and just if you're a trainer running a class, you're doing public speaking. If you work in the police station or the fire station, you're talking to your team, just whatever it happens to be. So with no further ado, we'll get right into it. And last time I did this, I think one of my issues was I wanted to give everybody all the information at once. I think I had a list of like 12 or more things. That's just too much stuff. So I cut down the list to 5 or 6 right now, just some core good things that if you focus on, I think will yield some good improvements in the public speaking area. So first and foremost, ask a trusted friend if you don't know yourself. Pardon me. Or if you do happen to have some footage of yourself speaking somewhere at a wedding, wherever, just in public, where it's, you weren't specifically tailoring the way that you speak every day because you knew that you'd be on camera and be analyzed, that it was very raw, it's very authentic, then you can analyze yourself. And most people have a love of the word ah or the word and if you do nothing else but identify what your little safe phrases are that go through your head and then out your mouth when there's what you feel is an awkward pause or silence in the conversation, most people feel the need to fill that silence. I don't know why that is. There's nothing wrong with a pause in the conversation. There's nothing wrong with a little bit of silence, but human beings feel the need to fill it, and they'll go, whatever it happens to be. Identify what those little filler words are for you, and if you eliminate those, and if you do nothing else with your public speaking, nothing else, you will have advanced leaps and bounds above most individuals, and you will sound 10 times more just professional, articulate, confident, whatever it happens to be, if you don't change anything else. So that's number one. Identify the ums and the ahs, and then realize when those little pauses occur, there's nothing wrong with a pause in the conversation. So if I was trying to remember what I did yesterday for a workout, and I felt, it took me a second to think of what it is, I could go, yesterday, what did I do? I did Grace. And then you feel that. Whereas there's nothing wrong with just going, what did I do yesterday for a workout? Oh yeah, it was Grace. Both convey the same manner. They convey it in a way that is received differently. I would say, don't fill the silence. Then, the other one is public speaking. There's this thing that's said in books about public speaking and blah, 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 that the most glorious sound in a human being is their own name. So you want to use the person's name a lot. I disagree with that to a degree. I think there's a way to do it appropriately, but there's a way that if you're saying the other person's name constantly, you sound like an untrustworthy salesperson, and nobody likes that. So if every 2 seconds you're like, well, that's great, Jim, fascinating story, Jim. Good to meet you, Jim. Well, hey, Jim, I got a question for you. I mean, that's awful. Everybody's radar should be going up right there that so-and-so is using some sort of a technique on me. So I would say just use people's names at a normal cadence and interval that normal human beings would do that, and don't make it weird and don't make it awkward. I don't think you have to use their name constantly. I disagree with that one. Here's another big one. The audience is a reflection of you in large part. This is a big one. And what I mean by that is, if I'm speaking to one person, or I'm up in front of a live audience, or I'm talking to a camera, however I come off, I can expect the audience to be. So if I'm up there and I'm speaking about how whatever it is happens to be the most amazing thing in the world, those are the words that I'm saying, but my body language is blah, I have no enthusiasm and I have no energy, well then it doesn't matter that I'm saying the words, this is exciting, blah 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 blah. The audience is a reflection of how I'm carrying myself. So forget about the words. If I come off as low energy and uninterested and not passionate, the audience will be low energy, uninterested, and not passionate. If it appears that I'm smiling and I'm having a good time, not a fake smile, but I'm smiling because I'm generally excited and I'm enjoying what I'm talking about, that comes off to the audience and it makes the audience have a much better time. So I would encourage you to do that as well. Here's another good one. We say this is don't circle the tower. And what we mean by don't circle the tower, that can be when you are making a statement or asking a question. And basically means get to the point. Don't just circle the tower, land the plane. So if you can say something in 2 sentences and you don't need 5, don't say it in 5 sentences. Say it in 2 sentences. Brevity is appreciated. Not brevity at the lack of critical information, but brevity when compared to just unnecessary fluff and extra words. And it's the same thing sometimes when people ask a question. Instead of just asking, where do you want to go for lunch? There's the question. It's, where do you want to go for lunch? Because I know you're not a big fan of pastrami, and I was thinking about pastrami, and I know the other day we got Italian, so I'm not really sure if you're kind of in the mood for Italian. You might be in the mood for Italian, I don't know, but there's a good Mexican joint down the road. We could check that out. I don't know if you've eaten recently. Do you even want to eat? Once you start to listen for things like that, you'll hear how many questions are actually asked in this very long, crazy manner when all you have to say is, do you want to get something to eat? And that's it. You're good. And then based upon the information that you receive from that person, then you can probably ask one of those other 5 questions that you lumped in all together at the first time. So don't ask 5 questions at once. Just ask one. Listen to what the individual has to say. And then if you do need to have a follow-up question, you're now armed with the information they provided you, and you'll have a much more effective conversation. Okay, here's another one. If you want people to find you interesting, and this might help out some individuals who struggle in social settings. If you want people to find you interesting, be interested, meaning be interested in the other person. So there's nothing worse than somebody that just gets up there and they're quote supposedly having a conversation with you, but all they're doing is talking about themselves nonstop. So if you want to be a person that people enjoy talking to and that people find interesting, you need to be interested in that other person, what's going on with their life. Ask them some questions about themselves. And then when you ask them questions about themselves, truly listen. Don't just zone out. Truly listen to what they're saying. And then again, base follow-on questions on what they had to say. But you've got to be interested in other people, because if you're only interested about yourself, that's going to come off. It's not well received, and I don't think you'll have great success public speaking. So that's that. And there's a whole nother rabbit hole that we could go down on this, and that is whether or not to include swearing and vulgarities when public speaking. And now, of course, it could depend on the crowd that you're addressing, but there are some general rules, but I almost feel like that is another video in and of itself, because my opinion on the subject has wavered greatly over the years. So I'll leave that cliffhanger for you. And that's it. The workout of the day today is Nate. Hero workout for Nate Hardy, Fallen Seal. I hope everybody enjoys the workout, and we will talk later.